Tesla reports earnings this week. We're over on Say, looking at the most popular investor questions from Tesla shareholders, including retail and institutional. And today I'm going to do my best to jump the gun a little and attempt to answer some of these questions before they're even asked. This is one of my favorite things to do before a Tesla earnings call, and so far the track record has been pretty good. First things first, the most popular tags, always telling the kind of questions investors are asking, the topics and themes they're most interested in. Out in front by a mile is FSD. Nearly 300 questions tagged with FSD. In second place, we have Optimus, over 100. Now, this is a very positive sign. FSD, massive money printer, on the cusp of going unsupervised, and then the floodgates open. As I said before, as of today, Tesla FSD supervised is a very nice to have feature, but it is absolutely not essential. It's not a game changer. You can't yet get in a Tesla vehicle, turn on FSD, go to sleep, play a video game, get some work done, pay zero attention. The moment that happens anywhere, in a small region, a city, a state, as soon as that happens, the utility of this software changes completely. Therefore, its value and obviously adoption rates. When that happens, FSD becomes your personal chauffeur. Optimus, obviously, at scale will dwarf Tesla's existing business and a fully scaled Robotaxi business, so it's great to hear lots of questions being asked about this. Strangely, Cybertruck coming in third place. Let's be real here, guys. Amazing vehicle, half spaceship, half Swiss Army knife. Cool as fuck, probably the most badass vehicle on the planet, but absolutely irrelevant to Tesla from an investor's point of view. Tesla not able to get the cost down to a point where they could sell fuck tons of these things. Why are we even asking? Next most popular is Robotaxi. Now, in fairness, there's probably going to be some overlap with some of these tags. FSD, Robotaxi. In fact, just scrolling a little bit further, there's another Robotaxi with different spelling. And we've got Cybercab. So let's bunch these all together. Cybercab, Robotaxi, and FSD. And just assume that people care the most about autonomy, followed by Optimus, which is a good sign. SpaceX in here with 45 tags. Now, this is interesting. Imagine a year ago, we're on Say, looking at the most popular investor questions for Tesla's Q4 2024 earnings. 0 questions would have been tagged SpaceX. So why the sudden interest? Well, as we know, Musk has mentioned in the past, if SpaceX were to IPO, he would like to figure out a way to prioritize long-term Tesla shareholders in giving them first dibs on SpaceX shares. Whether or not that's possible is a separate matter from whether or not Musk wants to be able to do this. Having the desire to be able to do something and actually being able to pull it off, two separate things. There's also some discussion about a potential reverse merger with Tesla. The end result, Tesla shareholders end up owning a slice of SpaceX as well. It's my ideal outcome, but just imagine a year ago, the idea that SpaceX would even come up on a Tesla earnings call. So let's skip ahead. A couple more of these tags. We've already covered Robotaxi, Cybercab, AI, 28 tags, new vehicle models, 27, Model Y, 26, and then a bunch of others. So this is an interesting representation of the overall questions that Tesla investors are most interested in, the most important topics. And I am noticing a shift over time, a shift in the right direction too. Imagine if new vehicle models was the number one topic. So let's look at these. We're first going to look at the most shares represented for questions. For those who don't know, the way that Say works, you verify who you are, how many shares you own, and when you vote, the number of shares you own are added to the pool of other shares other people own who've also upvoted a question. We'll also then switch to the top voted. Now, the reason we'll do that is because typically institutional investors own hundreds of thousands, if not millions of shares, and they alone can skew the results here almost entirely. They upvote a few things, bam, institutions control the top voted questions. So we'll have a look at the top, I don't know, call it 5 or 6 questions maybe from institutional investors, which is essentially what the share count is, and then we'll switch over to more likely the top voted from most likely retail investors. First question. Today, there are around 90 million cars sold globally each year. Does Tesla have a view based on its Robotaxi ambition? What this number will be in 5 or 10 years, and how does this impact Tesla's EV strategy to have more models? Spoiler alert. I think the gist of how Tesla will respond to this is, who fucking cares, bro? And I'm only half trolling. The reason, autonomy is happening. Robotaxi is happening. The problem is solved. It's now a matter of scaling. Personally, my best guess is that the number of personally owned vehicles plunges as ubiquitous, extremely affordable Robotaxis scale globally. The switch to using transport as a service by cheap, safe, affordable, near zero wait time Robotaxis, households could be saving a few $1,000s per year. To many, the switch will be a no-brainer. So regarding how this may impact Tesla's EV strategy to have more models, here's how I suspect things play out. Tesla's all in on autonomy and the humanoid robot. They will continue to sell vehicles to consumers. I mean, they've got some great products, so why not? But Tesla's ambitions have shifted from selling upwards of 20 million electric vehicles per year to selling a few and making fuck tons of robotaxis, many millions in fact, driving the cost of transportation down significantly, disrupting the whole concept of personal vehicle ownership, saving millions of lives and avoiding millions of injuries and disabilities every year due to the massive improvement in safety via autonomy, printing money with robotaxis while offering a cost per mile vastly lower over the long term than personal vehicle ownership. And actually, we're kind of just kidding because actually we're all in on Optimus and Robotaxi is going to print money, but Optimus is going to make Robotaxi look like a fucking joke. So, in short, Tesla will continue to drive costs of their vehicles down. They will continue to produce and sell vehicles to consumers at least probably for the next 5-10 years. But this is all going to be a tiny sideshow. I don't think people are truly appreciating this. At some point, Tesla may implement the production systems for the Cybercab, which will dramatically drive the cost to produce compelling vehicles down and produce some of those vehicles to sell to consumers. But here's the thing. Until Tesla has produced a global fleet of robotaxis, driven costs down, produced more to keep wait times in check, driven costs further down, until they've done this and saturated the entire planet with robotaxis, which in a single year are likely to return, give or take, their entire cost to produce in year one, 100% return year one, bro. Where else will you get a return like that? Good luck. Until they've done that, which is going to take time, it makes absolutely no sense to invest any brain cycles whatsoever, and I mean any, in new models. Makes a lot more sense to continue to incrementally improve and drive costs down of your existing range, the 3 and Y in particular, and leave it at that. Now, I'm not saying there won't be future Tesla vehicle models, but what I am predicting is the cost and value, not what you pay but what you get, Tesla's existing range of vehicles will continue to improve over time. A few years from now, the profits from their rapidly scaling robotaxi business will make their customer sold vehicles look like a joke, at which point, why are we even having this conversation? So someone asked this question on the earnings call. Tesla says, bro, autonomy, who even cares? Interesting that this was submitted by an institutional investor. Second most popular question, based on number of shares represented on the votes, also from an institutional investor. And what do you fucking know? Are there still plans to launch new models to address different price segments and vehicle types, which could materially expand the total addressable market for Tesla? Bro, autonomy, who fucking cares? GG. Oh God. Another institutional investor. Third most popular question based on shares represented. Historically, Tesla has spoken about gross margin per model. Oh, fuck me, dude. This is so funny. I just have to recap quickly, right? 3 institutional investor questions. Vehicle sales, vehicle gross margins. Now, let's go back to this question. Historically, Tesla has spoken about gross margin per model. Are there standalone gross margin targets for the current models, excluding the benefits of FSD sales? So I think the way Tesla will answer this is we'll just keep selling them. Ideally, we want to sell them for greater than a 0% gross margin, but bro, autonomy, who cares? Oh, finally, imagine that. A retail investor submitted question. You once said, loyalty deserves loyalty. By the way, good philosophy. Will long-term Tesla shareholders still be prioritized if SpaceX does an IPO? So, per earlier, Musk has long said he would like this to be possible. But whether it is possible is a separate matter. I have no idea how this could even be pulled off. Of note, the 1.9 million Tesla shares represented on these votes, this being the 4th most popular submitted question by number of shares, keeping in mind the heavy skewing from institutional investor submitted questions and likely institutional investor votes. In other words, a lot of Tesla shareholders want to know the answer to this question. There's clearly extremely high interest from at least a decent sized subset of Tesla shareholders in SpaceX, and it makes sense. I would say, number one, don't get your hopes up. After all, hope is not a strategy. If this can be done, amazing, but don't count on it. My ideal scenario is still a reverse merger or something along those lines. SpaceX gets folded into Tesla. Tesla shareholders now suddenly own SpaceX as well. There's ample dilution, but the end result, Tesla shareholders end up with shares in SpaceX. However, the odds of that being approved by existing Tesla shareholders, including obviously institutional, yikes. Now, one other thing to point out, given the fact that this process, e.g. SpaceX IPO or similar, is seemingly happening behind the scenes right now, I'm not sure how much detail we're going to get around the mechanics of how this might work. The best we may get from Elon is, I would like to be able to prioritize long-term Tesla shareholders. Not sure if I can. Can't say any more than that. Next question. What is the current bottleneck to increased robotaxi deployment and personal use unsupervised FSD? The safety and performance of the most recent models, or people to monitor robots and robotaxis in car or remotely, or something else? So this one's pretty easy to guess. Obvious things are obvious. Tesla's holding themselves back here, still being ultra cautious. There's approximately zero chance the bottleneck is the capabilities of the software. Approximately zero chance it's the number of people who are available to remotely supervise, etc. And approximately 100% chance Tesla's just being ultra conservative here. There's only so much data you can gather over time, per mile, per vehicle. Tesla's still in that gather enough data to be absolutely certain there's nothing we've overlooked. And again, thus far, despite having first launched about 6 months ago in Austin, also operating in California, there haven't been any safety critical incidents, at least caught on film. We've seen none. This is a very positive sign. Tesla's still intentionally holding themselves back out of an abundance of caution. So we're now going to switch from most shares represented to top voted. This is probably going to skew a bit more retail investor heavy. Let's see here. Retail. What do you fucking know? Why am I not surprised? So let's have a look at these. We've already covered the SpaceX IPO, rewarding long-term Tesla shareholders. The next one. When is FSD going to be 100% unsupervised? This is kind of like asking, when is sunrise today? Where if anyone thinks that FSD is just going to suddenly go unsupervised globally at the same time, you are in for a surprise. Obviously, it's going to happen in different locations at different times, pending Tesla's confidence and having sufficient data to be extremely confident. To the earlier point about Tesla's Robotaxi rollout being super cautious, they're going to have a minimum threshold of data to have accumulated without safety critical incidents before they can go, okay, we have now got enough data to be very confident that there's nothing we've missed, nothing we've overlooked. The rollout of Tesla's robotaxis is likely to be the best clue of the locations where FSD will most likely first go unsupervised. Imagine this. Tesla's been operating fully unsupervised robotaxis in City A. We now have evidence that Tesla's FSD can operate fully unsupervised safely in City A. Next minute, Tesla FSD unsupervised available to customers in City A. Some of the questions I have though is, how do they handle city borders, state borders? How does that roll out? I suspect there's going to be a reasonable delay between robotaxis operating legally, safely, unsupervised in a particular city and or state for customers have FSD unsupervised in that same area. Simply because Tesla can operate their robotaxis in a certain region, know exactly where they're safe and reliable, whereas a customer can drive essentially from anywhere on a continent to the other end. There's a much higher bar for FSD unsupervised than there is robotaxis operating in a particular city. Of course, the way that Tesla may respond when this question comes up on the call, especially if it's Elon responding on Elon time, is probably actually going to be much more specific. He might throw out something along the lines of in the next 12 to 24 months. I'd probably say he's going to be more on a 12-month sort of time frame. But personally, I wouldn't count on it. Now, that said, progress with AI, it's really hard to know. But it seems to me extremely clear that there's going to be a reasonable delay between robotaxis operating in a particular city and then many cities in a state and then customers being able to use FSD unsupervised, unless the initial rollout of FSD unsupervised matches the exact service areas of the robotaxis. We've already covered this, current bottleneck with increased robotaxi deployment. Here we go. The first Optimus question. Regarding Optimus, could you share the current number of units deployed in Tesla factories and actively performing production tasks? What specific roles or operations are they handling? And how has the integration impacted factory efficiency or output? It'd be great to get any detail on this whatsoever from Tesla when the question comes up, if it managed to get asked. My best guess, there's probably double-digit numbers of Optimus robots, but that's a pretty weak guess. Could be anywhere between 10 and 99. My suspicion is there may be one or two Optimus doing a particular task in a particular factory, trying to nail that. One or two more doing a different task in the same factory or a different factory, and so on. Keep it pretty small scale. At this point in time, I think for most of these operations, early on, Optimus is going to be a net drag on productivity, but that's par for the course when you're training it. I'm very hopeful, and again, hope's not a strategy, but really hopeful this question does actually get asked on the call though, because what specific roles or operations are they handling? This would be great to know. What are they currently doing? Because again, Musk is on the record saying that he believes by end of next year, Tesla's going to be selling Optimus robots to customers. And obviously he's aware of what they're currently capable of and are actually doing in Tesla's own operations in their own factories. Any detail on this will be extremely useful. We'll wrap it up here. Overall, some not exactly incredible questions submitted by institutional investors. I'm very shocked about that. new vehicles, total addressable market, gross margin on automotive. But as I mentioned, overall, the trend in topics coming up on these calls is heading in the right direction. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.